Welcome to The Explainer. You know that animal you see pretty much every single day? The bird? Well, today we're digging into its incredible and often overlooked story. From the pigeon on your street to the eagle soaring above, they all share an absolutely epic prehistoric history.
So to really get a grip on birds, you first have to understand just how successful they are. I mean, when we say they've conquered the planet, that is no exaggeration. They are, without a doubt, one of the most successful groups of animals in the history of life on Earth.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. We're talking every single continent and almost every habitat you can possibly imagine. The highest mountains? Check. The deepest forests? Yep. Even our own backyards and bustling cities. They found a way to make a life for themselves pretty much everywhere.
What about the most extreme places on Earth? Well, take the Antarctic. It's unbelievably cold, right? Survival seems almost impossible. But there they are, emperor penguins, huddled together, somehow raising their chicks against all the odds.
Okay, so what about the complete opposite? The hottest, driest deserts? Birds have figured that out too. You've got guys like the sand grouse, which has this amazing trick where it soaks its belly feathers in water to fly it back to its thirsty chicks. Just incredible.
And then, of course, there are places like the Amazon rainforest. For birds, this place is basically paradise. The sheer variety here is it's staggering. We're talking thousands of different species filling up every single layer of the forest, from the ground all the way up to the canopy.
So when you add it all up, scientists have identified over 10,000 different species of birds. That is a massive, massive amount of diversity, and it all traces back to just one common ancestor.
Which of course makes you wonder, right? How in the world did they pull this off? What's their secret? What's the key to this global domination?
Well, a huge part of the answer, maybe the biggest part, is one incredible evolutionary superpower: flight. I mean, being able to fly didn't just help them escape predators, it literally opened up the entire planet for them. But to do that, their bodies had to evolve into these perfect little flying machines.
And that perfection starts deep inside, with their bones. See, a bird's bone isn't solid like ours. It's got this amazing honeycomb-like structure, full of air pockets. It's a genius piece of natural engineering that makes their whole skeleton unbelievably light.
But wait a minute, how can a skeleton that's basically mostly air be strong enough to handle all the stress and strain of flying?
It's all in the design. And what's really cool is that a bird's wing isn't some totally alien thing. It's built on the exact same blueprint as our own arms. Shoulder, elbow, wrist. But it's been brilliantly reshaped and fused together to be super strong, super stable, and just incredibly efficient in the air.
So with this amazing superpower, the ability to go literally anywhere, birds just exploded. It led to this incredible burst of diversity, letting them colonize all these new places and evolve into the spectacular variety of forms we see today.
Okay, so the bird family tree is huge, right? But check this out. There's one single branch that just takes over. It's absolutely massive. These are the passerines, or as you probably know them, the perching birds. They make up more than half of all bird species on the entire planet. That's just crazy.
And what's their big secret? It all comes down to a really simple but super effective foot design. 3 toes point forward and 1 points back. This simple setup works like a perfect little clamp, letting them grip onto almost anything: a big branch, a tiny twig, even a telephone wire. It's so good it even locks while they sleep, so they don't fall off.
And from that one simple, successful design, you get this unbelievable range. On one end of the scale, you have the tiny short-tailed pygmy tyrant, which weighs less than a nickel. And on the other end, the super smart, super hefty common raven, which can be literally 400 times heavier.
Okay, so where did this enormous, super successful family even come from? To figure that out, we have to go way, way back in time. And when you follow that family tree all the way to its roots, well, you stumble upon what might be the single most mind-blowing fact in all of biology.
Yeah, to find the real origin of birds, we're not talking about a few thousand years ago. We have to crank the time machine back millions and millions of years, back to an age when the world was ruled by giants.
Now this might sound like something straight out of a movie, but it is the scientific consensus backed up by mountains of fossil evidence. The dinosaurs, they never really died out. Not completely. One branch of their family tree survived, and they are all around us today.
So here's the short version of how it all went down. Birds evolved from a group of two-legged dinosaurs called theropods. The very first true bird we know of, Archaeopteryx, showed up about 150 million years ago. And here's the key part. When that giant asteroid hit 65 million years ago and wiped out most of the dinosaurs, the ancestors of our modern birds, they somehow managed to pull through.
And honestly, when you look at the clues, the family resemblance is it's impossible to ignore. Just look at the skeleton of an early theropod dinosaur like this Eoraptor next to a modern ostrich. That posture, the long S-shaped neck, the way their legs are built, that is not a coincidence. In fact, paleontologists have found something like 100 specific features that connect birds directly to theropod dinosaurs. Things like hollow bones, that wishbone you find in a turkey, the three-toed feet, similar joints. It's overwhelming. Birds aren't just like dinosaurs. For all intents and purposes, they are dinosaurs.
So what does all this mean? What do we do with this epic 150 million year story of survival and evolution? How does it change things for us, right here, right now?
Well, it means that the next time you see a bunch of birds perched on a telephone wire, or you hear a songbird in the morning, you're not just looking at an animal. You're looking at living history. You're looking at a direct, unbroken link to a prehistoric world.
Once you know this, it kind of changes how you see everything, doesn't it? Birds are these incredible survivors from a lost world, these perfectly adapted masters of the sky. So I guess the final question is, the next time you look out your window, what are you going to see? Just a bird? Or are you going to see a tiny, living dinosaur?